No, I have included this another segment in my season 2, which is called Know Your Host, where I give my guests an opportunity to ask me any questions they might have.
Oh my gosh. Um, I like to know how much have you traveled across Canada, outside Canada?
Hmm. That's a very interesting question. Um, Actually, I'll tell you, I haven't really traveled enough up until my 20 to 23 years, when I came to Canada. That was my first time ever coming, literally like outside of my city. And after coming to Canada, I would say I have lived in various cities. Like I've lived in Montreal, I've lived in Halifax as well. And after that, I think I was so much, or I would say, like during my initial 3, 4 years, that I was so much consumed by the whole immigration process and just trying to make a living, and just living like paycheck to paycheck and just somehow being able to pay my dues and being also able to feed myself and trying to bring in this fun, whatever I can, what was in my capacity back then. So first 3, 4 years literally went by like that. And after that, I would say it was last year when for the first time I was actually able to travel. You can call it like a vacation. I was actually able to travel the cities which I always wanted to visit. Like I went to New York for the first time last year. It was my first time and it was magical. It was so overwhelming also, but so beautiful also to stand in that Times Square, which you have seen all your life in movies. And then I also went to Toronto. And you'll say that Toronto is not that far, you haven't been there, everything, but literally I haven't. I came in 2018. I remember I had my cousin and his wife, whom I visited back in 2018, and I lived with them for like 4 years. But I kid you not, I have no recollection of those 4 days. I literally don't, because I feel like I was still trying to process that. Have I really moved abroad? Have I really come to Canada? Am I not living in my house anymore? I was still trying to process, and I think it was my second week in Canada when I visited my cousin there. So yeah, I would say I haven't traveled a lot, but I aim to do that a lot in the coming years. But I'll tell you one more thing, that because since I've started this podcast, which was in 2022, September was my first episode, and I've been recording like an year before that. I would say through this podcast and through these conversations, I have traveled a lot, because the people I have spoken to, they are from around the world. They have told me about various cities and various countries I never even knew about. For example, I spoke to somebody from Bulgaria, or somebody from Czech Republic, somebody from Costa Rica, somebody who is currently in Egypt, somebody I'm going to speak to somebody who is currently living in Brussels, I believe. That's what the city is called. I can't recall. But yeah, being able to have these conversations and learn about those cities is incredible. So, not physically, but I would say through these conversations, I have traveled a lot. Yeah.
Amazing, amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, no, great question. Thank you for asking that. So now, Dhara, we are in the final segment of the podcast. I call it Beneath the Accent. I'm going to ask a couple of questions. You can answer them in one word or a sentence or however you feel like. The idea is just to know more about you. So, ready?
Yes.
So, first is, what advice would you give to Dhara at a younger age and at what age?
I would advise myself when I was 18 years old that do not be afraid of toxic people.
Hmm. Okay. Describe a moment when you experienced a significant cultural difference that surprised you in Canada.
There were many, but one that when everybody used to ask me in the beginning, "Are you good?" I used to feel, "Of course I'm good. Why do you think I'm not?"
Okay. That's like the very initial instinct that comes up. Hey, how are you? Are you good? You're good? Like that. I'd see that. Okay. What's that one dish, Sarah, from your home country that always brings you comfort and nostalgia?
Oh, khichdi. That's my most favorite.
Are there any funny stories related to your misunderstanding around the accent or the English that you had?
Oh, yes, of course. So, on my first day at job, the HR was walking me through. all the rules and regulations. And after a while, she take a pause for a while and she said, "So are we on the same page?" I said, "Yes,
Hmm.
of course, we are on the same page. Page number 3."
Okay.
She said that, "Oh, you're funny. I couldn't understand what was so funny about it. We were on page number 3."
That is so funny. Okay, I love that. So, what's your favorite cultural festival or celebration in Canada? And how do you usually celebrate it?
Oh, Christmas. I love Christmas. I love the idea of Santa Claus. What I like about it, I think, they exchange cookies, usually homemade cookies, in my office, and I love those cookies. A, they're free. B, they're delicious. And C, I feel like I'm very special that they're cooking something and then, they're gifting it to me. So I
Hmm.
love Christmas. I love exchanging gifts. I even like to give gifts as well, but I think Christmas cookies are my best favorite.
Okay, amazing. And share like a quick tip for fellow immigrants who are trying to adjust into a new country.
I would say explore and be ready to push your envelope and don't be afraid of being uncomfortable. Don't seek comfort all the time. Try to do things that you have not tried earlier. That's the only way you can actually adjust and progress.
Okay, that's amazing. Yeah. Tell us about the first friend that you made in Canada.
She's also my best friend in Canada. She's Chinese. And when I was studying, I was crying in the corner of a library. And she came to me and she started talking to me. And ever since, she became my friend. So she was my first
Hmm.
friend and the best friend ever.
And you guys are still in contact? You guys meet often?
Mhm.
Hmm. Love that. And share a moment where being an immigrant made you feel exceptionally proud or accomplished.
Yeah, I think we understand so many different perceptions because we understand two different societies, East and
Hmm.
the West, polar apart. And we have those understandings and insights. And I feel very fortunate to be the immigrant because now I know and understand both the part of the world.
Hmm.
Whereas people who have never been to other part, either only been in North America or been
Hmm.
in East, I think they're missing out on so many things just to understand the life, the vastness of it. So I feel really proud and privileged to be able to have that understanding.
That's a great answer. Yeah, absolutely. I can relate to that. Love that. If you had to describe yourself, Dhara, as any creature, what would it be and why?
So I think my spirit animal is a duck. Um,
Okay.
the way you see the duck being very calm and composed on the outside, but it's actually working hard from the inside.
Underneath. Yeah.
Uh, so I think I resemble myself with that.
Great. And what's something you ate for the first time in Canada?
I think I had muffins.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
It's my childhood dream. I like to be a fairy. I like to have a magical wand,
Hmm.
and I want to fulfill everybody's wish. Whatever anybody wants to do, I just do some magic, and they get it. So
Hmm.
that's kind of power I want.
Okay. If you had to create this one law that everybody has to follow, what would it be?
You cannot lie.
Hmm.
You have to
Okay.
speak the truth.
And finally, how would you describe Canada in a word or a sentence?
It's multicultural.
Okay. And Nidhara, if you had to leave one advice for me, what would it be?
Reach out to more people. I think more people needs to know who you are and what you do and what kind of person you are. um I don't know, expand your reach because I think people needs to know you. Even
Hmm.
more people needs to know you. So do whatever you need to do to reach out to larger audience.
Absolutely. That's the aim for sure. And finally, Tara, how would you describe your experience of being on this podcast?
It's very motivational and fulfilling experience because uh, I talked about certain parts of my life and the journey that I never talked to anybody before. So
Hmm.
I don't know. There was something about it that made me talk about it and again think about it. So very grateful, very happy and fulfilled.
Wow, great words. I'm overwhelmed to just listen to what you just said, and thank you so much, Dhara, for your kind words, for being on the podcast and adding value to me and to my listeners. So thank you so much.
My pleasure.